Hello, dear participants. Welcome to Module 5 of the Value Added course on renewable energy technology and its future potential. In the past, we have learned about various renewable energy technologies like solar, wind, and many others, and how they can be used to convert radiation energy or rotational energy or mechanical energy into electrical energy. Today, we will explore the potential of one more renewable technology, which is in the form of chemical energy that is getting converted into useful mechanical energy by means of fuel cell. But before diving deep into the topic, let us understand a global issue that has given the entire world a reason to think out of the box, which is the 17 Sustainable Development Goals formulated by the United Nations organization. So let us begin. Allow me to share my screen. Okay, so today's topic is 17 SDGs of the UN and hydrogen cell electric vehicles, fuel of the future. And this is the topic for Module 5 in the value added course on renewable energy technology and its future potential. So let's take a look of the flow of presentation today. So we'll discuss first the SDGs of the UN, then what is fuel cell electric vehicle, then hydrogen as a fuel, working of hydrogen engine, architecture of FCEVs, challenges with hydrogen fuel cell, the advantages and disadvantages. So moving ahead, let us first dive into the topic SDGs of the United Nations. So recently, United Nations has formulated 17 sustainable development goals that needs to be addressed by every nation, be it any kind of developing nation or a developed nation. Every nation has to think of these 17 goals that is in front of your screen. Like the first issue that they are wanting to cover is that no poverty. Second is zero hunger, good health and well-being. So if there is no poverty, then there should be no, when there is no hunger, then there will be no poverty. So zero hunger, if you give enough food, we have like food uh, donation camps going on in the country currently, offering food free to the beggars, to the underprivileged, and to the children who are on the street begging for food and shelter. So we are giving them an opportunity to feed themselves, and if they are filled with in their stomach from their stomach, then probably there will be no poverty because they'll not start to beg. They will only look for some opportunities to work and sustain their life. Okay, and if we are giving them food, then obviously their health is also on track, and good health is a right to every citizen of any nation. And after that, quality education, because education is the need of the hour, because any developing nation wants to excel in any kind of uh, scenario for the upcoming events. Like if we, like India has like they have crossed a benchmark for giving the booster or these shots for corona, vaccination for corona for the the Indians were the first to develop some strategy to vaccinate all the people of their country with even the AstraZeneca one, or the Covaxin that India has formulated with the Serum Institute of India. So these vaccinations, like if how would you imagine if there were no scientists or no professional of biotechnologist or a biochemicalist who has formulated the formula for the vaccine, we would have not survived the COVID wave. So imagine how important education is at this point of hour, when every country is seeing a setback in their economy. And in fact, It's a day before yesterday's report about the USA that their GDP has gone very low, and there may be a situation that the markets are going to crash, and like people who have invested in stocks, they'll face a huge crunch. This is a prediction. Maybe I may be wrong, but as per the report, it says there'll be soon like a recession will, like 2008 will reappear in 2022. It's a prediction. Maybe it may happen or it may not. Then education is so important, so it's a need of an hour, and it's a right of every child that to receive quality education. So UN is thinking about this, and they have formulated that number 4 goal of quality education should be met in all respects in throughout the country and throughout the nations of the world. Okay, so next topic. I mean, the next goal that they have formulated is gender equality, because at workplaces sometimes we see that women and men do not get equal rights. Okay, so should not think of it like women uh, should not be given the rights to excel or as nothing of this sort should be. This thinking is very it's not good for the current generation. We should give equal rights to women and men both. Okay, so that's one another issue from UN. Then clean water for drinking and sanitation, and affordable and clean energy. This is the topic that is more related with our today's topic. So this is important. And then decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. If you want to excel, then more and more industry should be incorporated, and decent work and economic growth can be achieved. Okay. Then reduced inequalities. So inequality should be reduced. Then sustainable cities and communities. This is for smart cities. If we have smart cities, then we are going to get. We'll plan the cities in such a manner that we think of all these in the primary stage, and we can make this place a better place to live, to sustain life more. Okay, so then responsible consumption and production of food, climate action, because global warming is a bigger issue, and it has in the past we have seen it's like if you can see the temperature in Lucknow, it's huge and humid, and it's giving a lot of trouble to the life on Earth, and people living on land are mostly reliable on air conditioners and fans. So more and more energy is utilized in these months of the summers. Then we must think about the if there are industries, then their waste should not be floated into the rivers, because the aquatic life can also be affected with it. So life below water, this is their next agenda, or the next goal that they are looking after, is that life below water should also be made sustainable, because if we want to survive, then the fishes and the uh, other aquatic animals that live below the sea, below water, should be given equal rights of life. Okay, so that's why we have to make our life sustainable, and we have to make our the biodiversity of the ecosystem around us, that is containing both animals and fishes and aves, birds. Life on land means, and the next issue is again correlated. Life on land, like the trees, plants, we are cutting down trees, and we are not giving food for the birds. Okay, so this is not, this is the again an issue that we should make our life so better that we plant trees. Okay, it was earlier, it was good, like you for spacing and all, for creating a space for yourself, you were cutting down trees, deforestation were having, but they are affecting the ecosystem of the uh, other animals, or the animal life systems are being like hindered a big time. So we should plant trees now, because if we need to survive on this planet, we need oxygen, and oxygen is also deteriorating with this reason, because we have a lot of pollutants in air because of the vehicles. The vehicles are the carbon emissions are there, and it is affecting the environment, the ecosystem that covers the earth, and because of which we are able to survive on this planet. So we have to think a lot of things now, and peace, justice, and strong institutions is their next goal, and then partnerships for these goals. So all these 17 agendas, or you can say the sustainable development goals, are formulated by United Nations, and everybody is looking forward to educate people about this, to create awareness among them, and also to uh, make a change in their life, so that they adopt all these 17 goals, and they can make their lives and the people around them, or the ecosystem around them, sustainable for longer. Okay, so these are the 17 sustainable development goals. Moving ahead, okay, these are just what I have just told you. Let's move ahead. Okay. So fuel cell electric vehicle. What is a fuel cell electric vehicle? Because these fuel cells are basically powered by hydrogen, which is a clean source of energy. This is a clean source of energy, and they are more efficient than conventional internal combustion engines. Like we were using vehicles with IC engines, so these are better than the IC engines ones, because there are minimized carbon emissions, or minimized or no carbon emissions in this. Okay, and the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy is the government of India initiative that is taking this initiative with the other departments, and they have leads research efforts to make hydrogen powered vehicles an affordable, environmentally friendly, and safe transportation option. So they are on the verge of launching vehicles with hydrogen fuel cell, and they will only emit water vapor and some warm air, no carbon emissions. Imagine the environment will be so refreshed after the launch of these vehicles, and if it is in multitude only, then, because we still have the conventional petroleum run vehicles that are emitting carbon, and they are polluting the environment and making the life on earth difficult to survive, because every human, or a living being, requires oxygen. Okay, and if this oxygen is cut down, or the supply is broken, then life would be very difficult, and in the coming years it will be more difficult for us to survive. So okay, so hydrogen is considered as an alternative source of energy under the Energy Policy Act of 1992, and has qualified as a fuel for generation of electrical energy. Okay, hydrogen is a clean fuel that, when consumed in a fuel cell, produces only water. So it when hydrogen burns in oxygen, it produces water vapor and energy. So this we will see this reaction in the coming slides. Hydrogen can be produced from a variety of domestic resources, such as natural gas, nuclear power, biomass, renewable power like solar and wind. These qualities make it an attractive fuel option for transportation and electricity generation applications. It can be used in cars and houses for portable power, and in many more applications. Okay, so we see how this chemical reaction works. Burning of hydrogen in air. So when hydrogen gas is burned in the presence of oxygen, a large amount of energy is released, and water is produced as the major product. So hydrogen, this is in the gaseous form, reacts with the oxygen, then gives a water vapor. So this is also in the gaseous form. Okay, and with the release of some energy. So this energy is released. So let's see this reaction, like when when a hydrogen atom loses two electrons, it gives two H plus ions. Okay, and when this two H plus ions react with the oxygen present in the air or with the ambient air, like half oxygen molecule, then it gives one molecule of water vapor. Okay, I think this is a balanced equation. Yes. So this is how we get water vapor in this reaction. So basically, this entire hydrogen fuel cell, or the concept behind fuel cell, works on this equation. This equation is very important. So we are seeing the chemistry of how a hydrogen fuel cell works. So basically, this is the chemistry behind it. And when hydrogen burns in oxygen, it gives a blue flame, light blue flame. Okay. Okay, so it's a quick reflection spot for you all. When hydrogen burns in air with a faint bluish flame, yellow flame, green flame, none of these. So it is obviously option A, faint bluish flame, as we have seen. Okay, so answer is A. So moving ahead, let's see how a hydrogen engine works. So working of a hydrogen engine. In hydrogen fuel cell cars are powered by an electric motor and are therefore classified as e-cars. So we have an electric motor that is being driven by the energy produced by the fuel cell electric vehicle. So the common abbreviation of FCEV, used as short for fuel cell electric vehicle, in contrast to BEVs, or the battery electric vehicles. So there is one crucial difference between hydrogen fuel cell cars and other electric vehicles. Hydrogen cars produce electricity themselves. So unlike in fully electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles, the vehicle doesn't get its power from a built-in battery. Instead, it can be charged from an external power source. Instead, hydrogen cars effectively have their own efficient power plant on board, that is the fuel cell. Okay, so we have the electric vehicles. Currently, we are having two-wheelers and even four-wheelers for from Tata. I think Nexon EV is there, and many electric vehicles are coming up these days. Tata Tigor EV is there. Tata is coming up with all the EVs in full swing, and many other companies are lined up. Like Hyundai is going to launch one, and Ionic 5. Hyundai is going to launch Ionic 5 very soon in the I think the third quarter of this year, maybe around January 23, and let's see if it is going to hit the market or not. Um, because it's a new technology and everybody won't be able to welcome it, especially in India, where people think that the conventional electric vehicles will be not as much powerful as the like the ones we are using for of petrol vehicles. So there's a mix of the mixed thinking of people is there, and may some may welcome this technology, some may not. Okay, so moving ahead, let's see the architecture. So in this picture, you can see that this is a tank here. This is a tank filled with hydrogen. Okay, and hydrogen can be filled easily from this kind of a fuel tank neck or the nozzle, uh, and it is in the form of a compressed air, compressed hydrogen, and and this is the fuel cell. When hydrogen from this fuel cell in this fuel cell reacts with the ambient oxygen present in the ambient air, then it produces energy. This energy can be used to power the battery, onboard batteries, and this battery is going to run the motor. Okay, you can see this charging of the battery is happening, and this energy is being used to propel the motor. So this is basically a propulsion technology only, but in a different form. We are not using directly the lithium ion batteries. Like currently we are having lithium ion batteries, and this is going to eradicate, this technology is going to eradicate the lithium ion, because lithium ion, you have seen many cases, maybe you must have seen on videos on YouTube and all, like they are very they're not so safe. Okay, and they may explode because of overcharging and all. And they are also not giving the performance that is required by the customer. So customer is also not satisfied with the Ola scooters that we are having, Ola electric vehicle scooters. And people are not satisfied with the performance of these vehicles. So it's a great technology, and they can obviously like disrupt the existing ones. So existing one is the lithium ion batteries only. So hydrogen fuel cell can really disrupt this lithium ion batteries in the future. So, in the fuel cell of an FCEV, hydrogen and oxygen generate electrical energy. This energy is directed into the electric motor and the battery as needed. So, that I have told you already. So, because of the energy that is stored in the battery, and it can use to propel the batteries, sorry, the motor, and then your FCEV can come to motion. Okay, and this is another animation for showing you the reaction that takes place in the fuel cell. In the fuel cell technology, a process known as reverse electrolysis takes place, in which the hydrogen reacts with oxygen in the fuel cell. Okay, and you can see here the hydrogen molecules, they are losing two electrons. Just see here, yeah, and these electrons basically they are used to, they are connecting and they're charging them. So they are creating an electric supply. So this can be used to generate power, this losing of two electrons. And for conduction we need a directed flow of electrons. So if we have some kind of technology that can be used to make electrons come into motion, so we welcome such technology. So hydrogen in the fuel cell, it, like I have already explained you the reaction, it loses two electrons, becomes 2H plus ions, and this 2H plus ions reacts with one molecule of oxygen to give two molecules of. When it comes to green energy, we are already in talk with the SDGs of the United Nations, and the seventh SDG is the clean and affordable energy. So, hydrogen fuel cell serves that purpose, and it's a green and clean energy, and also affordable in the future. So, hydrogen powered cars are locally emission free. Okay, so moving ahead, let's see some of the applications of FCEV. The most common type of fuel cell for vehicle applications is the polymer electrolyte membrane PEM fuel cell. So the fuel cell that I have just shown you, this is basically a polymer electrolyte membrane. Okay. So in a PEM fuel cell, an electrolyte membrane is sandwiched between a positive electrode cathode and a negative electrode, that is the anode. Hydrogen is introduced to the anode and oxygen from air is introduced to the cathode. The hydrogen molecules break apart into protons and electrons due to an electrochemical reaction in the fuel cell catalyst. Protons then travel through the membrane to the cathode. The electrons are forced to travel through an external circuit to perform work, providing power to the electric vehicle. Then recombine with the protons on the cathode side, where the protons, electrons, and oxygen molecules combine to form water. Okay, so this is the concept. Let's see the key components of a hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. Hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. So we have a fuel tank, number one, then a battery pack that is used to charge the battery, and this is the fuel cell stack, in which the hydrogen from the tank will react with the ambient air or the oxygen present in the air, and will produce energy in the form of electrons and protons, and sorry, in the form of electrons, and that can be used to charge the battery pack. So more the battery pack, more will be the efficiency of the electric vehicle. But we will have to limit it, because uh, if we are talking about a car that has to move, and we have to think about the torque also, and if more weight is on the vehicle, then there will be less space for the people to sit and also to run the vehicle. So it will take space, and it will also put a lot of pressure, and the torque will be less. So we have to think about the battery pack that should be optimized to a particular size. Okay. And we have this thermal system for cooling the chamber where the reaction will takes place. And we have a DC to DC converter. Then we have an electric traction motor also, that allows the vehicle to move or propel. Okay, so this is just a brief overview. This image is taken from the internet. You can find it very easily. We have already discussed the key components of the hydrogen fuel cell. Okay, so now it's the future technology of the EVs, that is the regenerative braking. So it will also incorporate like hydrogen fuel cell, like conventional electric vehicles also have this technology, but in a hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle will also have the regenerative braking. So what happens in regenerative braking? We can use the energy generated while de-accelerating to charge back the battery by means of a feedback system. So you can use a feedback system. If you press the brakes like this, here the brakes are being pressed, the paddle is being pressed, and this is putting the pressure on the like this pressure can be converted through a degenerative sorry deaccelerating. The battery pack can be back charged back, okay, by means of a feedback system. So it the energy that is required to apply the brakes can also be used to charge the battery back. Okay, so you can learn about this technology from this YouTube video also. This here. Okay, now coming to the technology that has recently been launched by BMW, and it's known as the BMWi-Hydrogen NEXT. It's a fuel cell electric vehicle, and the hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle from BMW. BMW i is packed with features and style. It is always meant for the high society segment and will be priced above rupees 1 crore. So you know BMW, as we call BMW in local language, bada महंगा वाहन. So it is it's don't go by the acronym that I've just shared you. BMW actually is a costly car, and it's for the high end segment, and people who are having business class, they can afford such a vehicle. It's a SUV, and it is powered by the hydrogen fuel cell. So that this way we are seeing that hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle is not a futuristic technology, but it's a present technology, and companies are really working hard in this sector. So next, you will see a car from Hyundai. This is going to launch soon, as I've told you, in the I think the third quarter or the fourth quarter of this financial year. And Hyundai is all set to launch this Nexo, packed with features, and will be priced around 65 lakhs. So it's a huge sum again. But you know, the maintenance cost will be very low with such a vehicle, where you know possibilities of wear and tear are very low. Okay, because you have moving parts that run only on clean energy, and there is no carbon emission also, and uh, you know, chances of the motor to survive a longer is more with in terms of electric vehicles or in terms of hydrogen fuel cell. Okay, so let's see some of the advantages of FCEV. So the propulsion in hydrogen fuel cell cars is purely electrical, virtually no engine noise, and a lively start, because electric motors provide full torque even at low speeds. Uh, then quick charging time. Only time required is to fill the onboard fuel tanks. So yes, When we talk about electric vehicles, we need at least 5 to 6 hours to completely charge the battery pack. Okay, which is made of lithium ion and it is also not safe. Sometimes it may explode because of overcharging. However, there are limiters, there are circuits that auto cuts the charging facility. But sometimes because they are all electronic circuits, so it may fail because of some or the other technology. Okay. So the range of fuel cell electric vehicles is not dependent on the outside temperature. In other words, it does not deteriorate in cold weather. Hmm. हम बंद कर हाँ. Okay, moving ahead, let's see some of the disadvantages. Currently, the biggest shortcoming of hydrogen fuel cell cars is the sparsity of options for refueling. Okay, currently, if you see, how can a company like Hyundai launch a car with no facility for the charging stations? If there are no charging stations, that means uh, fuel like hydrogen will be swiped away like this. Hydrogen when burns in oxygen, it will give you some distance to cover. Then what after that? When the fuel is not enough or it's on low fuel, that means hydrogen is finishing off in your vehicle. Then what happens next? You'll have to find a station where you can charge with hydrogen. And if there are no hydrogen stations, why will the person or anybody on the consumer, why will a consumer buy such a car when there are no filling stations right now? Okay, so there are shortcomings is there, because if we have to have such kind of fueling refueling stations at every at least at least we can say 20 kilometers at least. It should be at a distance of at least 20 kilometers. 20 kilometers, that means a huge infrastructure is required for creating such service stations where you can refuel your hydrogen powered cars. Okay, so that is only disadvantage there. Then high purchase price. Obviously, if we are talking about FCEVs, like the few models of fuel cell vehicles are already available on the market, cost around 80,000 USD. So 80,000 USD multiplied by 80, which is near about the cost of a $1, and it will be around like 64 lakhs, something around that. So a mid or upper range vehicle would be around 65 lakhs in the US. Maybe I don't know how it will be priced in India, but let's hope for the best, and it doesn't give much pressure on the pockets of the Indian consumers. So let's see in the future what it happens to become. Another reason for the high purchase price is that hydrogen fuel cell cars tend to be quite large because of the hydrogen tanks that take up a lot of space. The drive unit for a purely battery driven electric vehicle, on the other hand, also fits into small cars. So we have small cars also, like Tata has launched one vehicle, Tata Tiago. I think it's an EV or not, maybe not. Tata Tigor is EV, which is I think slightly larger than the Tata Tigor, and sorry, Tata Tiago. Yes, Tata Tiago and Tata Tigor is you can say SUV kind. Sorry, it's a sedan kind of look, and it's a sedan vehicle. So the Tata Tigor is also, you can say, next to a hatchback kind of a car is a Tata Tigor. Okay, so we have seen electric vehicles of are there, and the battery that is on board these vehicles are also of some limited size. So we can say that in coming future, hatchbacks will also have these technologies, and we're going to have hatchbacks with electric vehicles. So that's why like classic electric cars can be currently found in all vehicle classes, but not in India right now. India is really welcoming all these technologies soon, and maybe because the high purchase price, maybe the infrastructure that is required to run such huge capacity of like every car will be dumped. If if these cars will be available on an affordable cost, then everybody would run for a electric vehicle and leave their conventional petrol vehicles, because petrol is becoming costly each day. Currently, petrol price is like 101 or maybe 100.8, because in 500 I get 5.18 liters. If you spend 500 rupees for petrol, you get 5.18 liters. So 5 liters and some extra milliliters, 180 milliliters. So you see, price earlier it was 10 years before, the price of petrol was so low, uh, 50 rupees and 60 rupees liter, 70 rupees liter, like that price was there. But now we see that the prices are going way too much high, and even the government are also not able to um, find a plan to, to overcome these expenses in terms of fuel, in terms of buying petroleum from other countries and all, because everybody has raised their prices. And then the Indian taxation system, everywhere there is taxes, so the government also has to pay huge taxes. So that's why we are not able to overcome this situation. Hydrogen fuel cell may be risky. This is another disadvantage, uh, because we are saying that it's going to take place, uh, if when hydrogen burns, when you if I just recall back the experiment that we did, many of us have done in their school days in chemistry labs. If you bring a glowing splinter into the test tube where hydrogen gas is releasing, okay, so it burns with a poppy sound. Okay, so it may burn with a sound, and it may sometimes maybe that it may explode also. But uh, for that, people are working. If such a thing is there, people are really working hard to find solutions for that, and such mishappenings can be avoided. And this is why these technologies are taking so much of efforts to uh, you know to attract the Indian consumers, because they are risky. Obviously, they are risky, because we are running about, these are chemical reactions that are going to take place, and chemical reactions can be hazardous, can be sometimes exothermic as well. Like we have endothermic and exothermic, so it can be exothermic reactions as well. Okay, and it may harm some way or the other. So these are certain disadvantages. Okay, so let's look at some of the challenges with hydrogen fuel cells. So, number one challenge is the source, because hydrogen must be derived from carbon free renewable sources before fuel cell vehicles can make a dent in the climate problem. One idea is to make hydrogen by splitting water using electricity from wind farms, solar panels, or nuclear plants. So we need to have a very sustainable kind of hydrogen generation system, which will not harm the ecosystem in any way. In any way, it should not harm the climate. In any way, it should not harm the ecosystem, be it aquatic, be it aerial, that means the aves, the birds, and be it the life on land. It should not harm any single ecosystem. So we need to find a source of hydrogen that should be very much, carbon free. Carbon free it should be. Okay, then the second issue with, or the challenge with hydrogen fuel cell vehicles will be the infrastructure. Once the hydrogen is made, it must be distributed via special pipelines and tankers to an extensive network of hydrogen refueling stations. So you can see this is underground pipe systems that are there, and these are specially designed hydrogen fuel tanks that will help to transfer hydrogen from one place to another. And this is another infrastructure is one big challenge. Then fuel cell must convert hydrogen to electric power. The challenge is to make it light, cheap, robust, and durable. So if we can make it light, the the cars will be lighter, and it can go for a longer run, uh, yet powerful enough to run the engine, lights, and air conditioning. So we have all the like amenities there in the car. That is the onboard air conditioner, the lighting system, the lighting, the headlight, tail lamps, the rear view camera, the side view camera, all are electronic right now these days. So it should be able to power all these accessories available on board on the car. So that's why fuels should be robust, should be small in size, should not take much space on the car. So these are some. This is another challenge. Then the last challenge is the fuel tank. The fuel cell vehicles must store enough hydrogen to go several hundred kilometers between refueling stops. Liquid hydrogen requires insulated tanks at minus 253 degrees Celsius. So most companies have chosen to compress the hydrogen inside high-strength carbon fiber tanks. So this is another challenge, and companies are really working hard with their research team, and they are really looking forward for solutions to overcome these four challenges that are there. And in the near future, we are going to see hydrogen powered fuel cell electric vehicles on the Indian roads. So with this, on this note, I would like to end my lecture today. So if there are any queries or any confusion there, you can always mail me, or you can always call me. Some of the students might be having my number. In case you don't have, you can mail me on these email IDs your queries. Okay, so thank you so much for listening to me patiently today. So there'll be some assignments and quiz that will be shared with you tomorrow. So I hope that you will be able to complete them on time. And if, in case there is any query, you can drop me a message on the discussion forum as well, that is available on the ILI Zone LMS. So with on that note, I would like to take a leave today. Thank you so much for giving your time and patient listening. Thank you.